Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to talk about refactoring the register employees.robot file to use the 4 important concepts we talked about in the previous video. That is the test suite setup, test teardown, and the test suite teardown. But before we do that, let's run one test case. Let's register John Doe and see where we left off. So we are running this test case with the tag register1, and then the directory for the logs is the logs folder, and then the file itself. So let's run. Yes, so John Doe has been registered. So let's now check the log file. Yes, so it has been registered, and we still have the suite setup and the teardown, and then we still have the test setup and the test teardown within the register John Doe test case. So now let us start the refactoring. Usually our test cases, usually our keywords, should be specific to one aspect you are trying to solve. So for instance, if you have a keyword to add 2 numbers, it should just add 2 numbers. So any part of your code or any part of any test suite you want to call that keyword, you just use it. So this register an employee should just register an employee. But here we have open browser, maximize browser window, and capture page screenshot, close browser. They don't have anything to do with registering the employee. This is the only part we need to register an employee. So these ones can be separated into their own keywords. So this one happens at the end of the test case, after the end of the test case execution. So which means we can put these two together and put them in the test teardown because they happen after the test case has run or has finished running. And this happens before the test case runs. So this can be in the test setup. So let's separate these two into their own keywords. So let's create a keyword over here. Let's say go to website, and then we can add the documentation as well. This keyword opens the browser, and let's make it so that it takes 2 arguments, the URL. So it takes the URL and then the browser. So these arguments once again are local to only the go to website keyword. So which means it's going to accept 2 arguments, the URL and the browser. So we can now cut. Let's cut these 2 and paste them here. And then we have this one as well, the capture page screenshot and the close browser keywords. So let's cut those ones as well. Then we go here. That is at the end of the test case, so it can't be in the go to website keyword. So let's create a different keyword for that. So maybe closing procedures or something like that. That doesn't require any arguments, but we can put the documentation. This keyword go to the browser. For instance, anything that makes sense, we can put it has the documentation for that keyword. So we just paste the capture page screenshot and a close browser keyword. And there is another keyword which is log source. Log source. This one logs the source of the HTML page you were working on. And I'll show you how it works. It's easier to show you how it works, but this is also an important keyword to use, especially for debugging. You want to know if an element was on the page or not. So this one, with this keyword, you can do a better debugging of your test cases, especially if they fail. So we can use the capture page screenshot, the log source, and the close browser keywords in the closing procedures. So now let's go to the test setup and the test teardown. So what do we want to do? We want to call at the beginning of the test case, we want it to open the browser. And we've created a separate keyword for that known as go to website. So when we enter, immediately it tells us it needs two arguments, the URL and then the browser. And then we already have them in variables here. So you can reference them at the top because they are global. So it is now going to use these values at the top here. And we also have the closing procedures as a test teardown. So what was the closing procedures? And that keyword does not accept any arguments. So now let's run and see. So let's run the John Doe again and see. So let's see if we still have, yeah, it's still registered. So let's delete him so we have a clean slate to work with. Then let's minimize and run. If there's any error, we just fix it. Let's run and see. Yes, so it still works. So let's go to the log and see what we have. So we still have the I am in the test suite setup message, and we have the suite teardown message because we did not change them at the top. So let's see what we have in the test setup and the test teardown. So we go to John Doe. As you can see, we have the test setup. So it does it before the test, the remaining keywords in the test case starts. So go to website and the URL. And because it's a global variable, or they are global variables, the go to website has access to those variables. As you can see, it uses the Chrome to navigate or to open this page, and then the maximize browser. So we are still getting the same results from previously. Then we have the closing procedures. So let's check the capture page screenshot. Yeah, so it captured the fact that it's registered John Doe. And yes, let me go here and open it from this side. Of course, you can type it in. Yes, let me close this. So let's go to the closing procedures. Now the log source. Let's see what it says. Yes, so this is the source, the HTML file we are running or we are working on. So it logs anything on the page, it logs it here. So if you were looking for, as you can see, we have, let's go to the register. We have, let's say, an H1 with the text register employees. So let's go and check if we have this in the log source section. So let's search. We can paste. So it says the title. Okay, there are two. The title of the page itself. This is the title, register employees. And then, well, there are more than two actually. Yeah, then we have the H1. this one. So if something disappears before you get access to it, there's another way you can get the locator out of it. The form we are using has an ID of form and other. So let's see the input. Yeah, so we have an input text of type text, and then we have the date of birth. So these are the HTML elements on this page we are using. So the log source logs the source of this web app, and this is simple because it's just a simple form, but usually this is really huge. So this is another way to debug your test case if there's an error, especially. So the log source keyword also is an important keyword to note. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. So let's go back to the, so that's about it for the refactoring of this. Our test case really does not need the test suite set up, so we are going to leave it blank, and the same for the test suite tear down. I was thinking the test suite setup should be able to delete all the employees before the registration starts. We can do that, or we can create a test case for that. So before any of the employees is registered, we can run a test case that deletes all the employees if there are any employees. Then we can go ahead and register new employees, so we have fresh data every time. For the deletion, we need another keyword. That's the web elements. But before we can talk more on that, we need to understand the concept of lists. In other programming languages, it is known as an array. So we have to understand what lists are. So we are going to do that in the next video. So that is it for the refactoring. We are going to leave it as it is for now, and if there are any changes, we'll just effect those changes. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.